Meeting to order. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and this city in which we live. Guide us this afternoon as we make our decisions. In Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
This is a Newnan special work session for the continuation of a public hearing for the annexation request of Annex 2021-01 by Poplar 2020 LLC. 42.20 acres on Poplar Road, tax parcels 0872005-001, 0872005-002, 087002005-003. This is requested zoning for mixed-use development for 350 multifamily units, 155 active senior adult units, 101 townhomes, 672,800 square feet of office space, 140 key hotel, 75,200 square feet of retail restaurant space, and 4 parking decks, and the consideration of ordinances. We are, as I said, continuing this public hearing from our last regular meeting. Ms. Donovan, do you have anything today as we get started?
No, sir. I included in the packet information and some of the questions that staff answered, including a map which showed where the approved projects were, as well as a chart that told the units and so forth going with them and what type of development there is. And then there are also reports from both the fire and police chief to further clarify response time and additional cost.
Right. Thank you very much. Those were the questions that that some of the council members presented to staff that were, I think, were given to Ms. Griffiths, and some of the answers that we have. But there are more of those. So, Ms. Griffiths, at this point, if you have a presentation, the procedure today is going to be very similar to the one that we had at our first public hearing. We're not going to ask you to repeat what you did before because we've heard that.
Yes, sir.
But if you have additional information for presentation, that's a 15-minute timeline for you. And then we'll have a 15-minute timeline for anyone here who is in opposition to the application in fairness. And then we'll have an opportunity for additional questions and answers from the council on either side, in opposition or in favor of. So you're on the clock at 1:02.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. We appreciate the opportunity to come again and have a work session. We have prepared all the questions and answers that we wrote down at the meeting and that we have received since that time. I've got Brian West and Lauren Guerin with Kimley Horn here and Craig Gearhart with Graystar to answer those questions after we complete the presentation. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you.
Good afternoon, members of the council. Do I need to say my name and my address?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Thank you.
So Candace Boothby, Newnan Coweta Chamber, 175 Oak Park Square, Newnan, 30265. So 3.5 years ago, a group of community leaders approached one of the premier office developers in the Southeast for the past 40 years, a developer who just happens to live in Coweta County. This developer represents the best of the best in high-end office development. That initial meeting 3.5 years ago focused on how we could create an environment that would attract high-paying jobs. That meeting led to an ongoing conversation with key community leaders, which brings us to where we are today. Thank you. A day that presents our community with an opportunity to realize a vision to create high-end office development with high-end paying jobs. It's my pleasure and honor today to introduce Hal Berry, Chairman of Berry Companies. Before I sit down, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Hal for his willingness to take a risk and to step out where others have been unwilling. We've said all along that someone has to go first to help us realize our vision of higher paying jobs. I can't think of anyone more fitting to fulfill this opportunity than Coweta's very own Hal Berry.
Candace, thank you. Thank you, and please know I didn't write that. Candace did. And she's been a great friend for a long time and a supporter for a long time. We thank you, Mayor and City Council, for hearing us again and staying with us. And huge thanks to the Newnan Development Group, who again challenged me with this effort to create jobs for Coweta County. Yes, it was 3.5 years ago, but a little background. I've been involved in commercial real estate in Atlanta, primarily office development, and before that, finance work since in the mid-'60s. And yes, I was able to convince Georgia Pacific Company to relocate from Portland, Oregon to Atlanta, and then to downtown Atlanta, and assembled a block and a half for them in 1978. One of the biggest thrills of my life is to be able to make that happen. And yes, I was able to start developing buildings in 1975 at Interstate North, and then with Portman Berry, we developed the North Park Town Center and Riverwood Office Building, and then Berry Real Estate went on from there and did several buildings around the southern United States, but including some of the more prominent ones, the Allen Plaza projects, the Southern Company Building, and a hotel, and the Ernst & Young building next door. So we were able to understand the growth and get in front of it. And a lot of times, just like this, way out front, I've taken a lot more risk than some people, but when you understand the facts, then you can begin to deal with the risk. So we were able to do some of that and do it well. Meanwhile, South Atlanta did nothing and never really got into the hunt for real office buildings. So when Candace asked me to look at this, I said, oh, wow, what a challenge. Let me really think about it. Let me see what we can do and how we can go about this. And over that last 3.5 years, immediately started focusing on what do we got to do? We got to come up with a way. We got to come up with a place that you can really make it happen. And I couldn't help but think about some of the very successful mixed-use places that happened over the last 10 years. Avalon out in Alpharetta, and another one, Halcyon, likewise, even further out. What were they? They started as residential and office projects, and then set the stage to bring in, started out as residential and retail projects, and then brought in the office buildings. So I kept thinking about, okay, if we're going to create that kind of a mixed-use environment, where are we going to do it and how are we going to do it? And meanwhile, I'm watching the interchange at Piedmont Hospital at Poplar Road being finished, and I couldn't help get thinking about that northeast corner of Poplar Road and 85. And said, wow, 42 acres sitting there, first stoplight off of 85, right across from Piedmont Hospital. Only place to do a place. Only place to really set something up. So as we kept thinking about it, we began to realize that, yes, we have an opportunity. And again, in today's press, you were able to see that Remington announced a move from New York, their headquarters, to LaGrange, Georgia. Bingo. If we were ready, we could have been in that hunt to do that deal. That's why I'm here. That's why we're doing this, is to begin to create a place to bring in those mixed use, those major users. I think that with what is going on nationally, with the move from the blue states and the gateway states with unbelievably expensive real estate, with some of the political moves and other traffic, political, you name it, that Atlanta is facing with today, that we're going to be, again, to be a part of another suburban surge. And this time, it isn't all going north. This time, we got a chance to pick up a major portion of that swing. But we got to have a place. So we're now on our design master plan number 10 and maybe 11 coming up here soon, for a reason. We did listen to the comments that were made at our last meeting, and one of the primary ones was that the hesitation, the lack of comfort with all of the rental townhouses as opposed to townhouses for sale. And yes, we're going to make a change. We're going to move those rentals to for sale townhouses. All of them, all 110. So it does mean that our good friends at Greystar won't be doing the townhomes. They'll be doing the other the rental and adult living, but won't be doing the townhomes. So, but that be it, we've got others in line that are very interested in doing the townhouse as well. So that takes us from 10 to 11, and there's some other tweaks that we're working on. We attempted to do a right in, right out. Quickly found out that DOT didn't like that at all, and we backed off of it. So that's out of the design. We're still working on the roundabout off to the northeast, and feel very good about being able to get that done. But there's negotiations going on there as well. What we've done is try to create, I just want to help crystallize the uses that we're proposing. Phase one is conceived as a multi-generational, high-density, urban, walkable, with a link trail through it. Community, live, work, play. Lots of people will never have to use that automobile to live there, to work there, to play there. They didn't want to. Which is anchored not by big box retail, not by with residential retail, Main Street shops and restaurants and a hotel, all of which we're going to pull into first phase. In addition to that, we have a 100,000 square foot office building built in that first phase. I've heard the stories about the other project that didn't get done, that you did approve it and it never got done properly. We're not going to do that to you. I have to tell you that this project is more than just a chance to make a buck off of it. I'm doing this because I want to create something for that's really positive for Coweta County and Newnan. We're not here to take this stuff and flip it to somebody else. We're here to develop it. Yes, we're bringing in partners to do it, but we're going to take the lead role on making it happen for you. So with the support that we've had from Candace and Dennis McIntyre, thank him again, where are you, Dennis? Who is unrelenting, just pushing us to get this thing done. But with that support, with the support of the Coweta County Development Authority and the State Economic Authority, and believe it or not, the verbal assurances from Governor Kemp that he will help us make this project, make Poplar Place work. We will find those users, and we'll get our share of the users that are moving around. The growth in Atlanta is incredible. Is going to continue, and we will see a big swing to the suburbs is really real. So, and if we get our hands on them, we'll get them developed. Jimmy Berry, my son and partner on this, has been with me and without me has been involved in an unbelievable amount of major projects, including his group just sold that land to Microsoft in northwest Atlanta, 90-some acres for their big major facility. Before that, he was up in Cincinnati and developed a 300,000 square foot building. Before that, he developed a 30-story building for us in Nashville. But Jimmy is good. Our other major project manager partner, John Shoup, has done retail development work all over the country and major stuff. Young Hilton is a nephew who is my brother's son. I've worked with Brother Phil for a long time and has been a great, great team player to help us get going with this. As I mentioned, we've converted, we're not going to do the rental townhomes. They will be for sale. Hopefully that'll make our day a little shorter. So, and big thanks to all of the other supporters that are represented here. The staff, I tell you, working in Newnan, Georgia is different than working in some other cities. It's a totally different situation. At least you can communicate with them, and they'll respond back to you, so forth. So we're very pleased with that. In closing, the mayor and council, we thank you again for considering our application. We're asking for your support of Poplar Place by, yes, a unanimous vote, and to send it out that, yes, that you're supporting what we're trying to do for Newnan, Georgia today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Berry. Good timing because the 15 minutes are up. This is the opportunity now for anyone here who is in opposition to come forward and speak to this issue. You'll need to stand, come forward, and yes. State your name, please, before you begin.
Hello, my name's Dave Powell. I live right off the Poplar Road, and I've detailed in an email to all the council members and the mayor the background and of my research that I've made. The research and academic research shows that large developments, high-density developments, have an increase in crime, particularly violent crime. It also lowers property values, and the congestion on Poplar is already bad. It needs to be divided, 4-laned, before we consider a project like this. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Powell. Appreciate you being here. Is anyone else in opposition? You'll come forward and state your name, please.
Good afternoon. My name's Melissa Barrington. Just wanted to make a few comments, just a few observations. So personally, I love the Avalon. We moved back to Coweta County from that area, and so love that idea. But we're in a little bit of a different world right now, post-COVID. So are as many technology jobs, or as many people looking for offices? I know a lot of companies are doing a lot of work at home now. So are we going to be able to attract those companies to actually fill these spaces? And then also just looking at what we've got going on in Ashley Park right now, we have a lot of empty shops. Restaurants aren't really integrated in with that. And so are we going to be able to attract those high-end stores to fill those spots when we already have some empty places there? And then another comment would be are those people who come to those high-paying jobs. Now, I know you have said that 110 of those are going to be for-sale townhomes, but if I remember correctly, that leaves over 500 units that are still going to be for rentals. So are those people looking to rent, or are they looking to purchase and own their home and invest? Because owning your home is a significant investment. And then, of course, just the infrastructure, as the other gentleman, the studies have shown that, is the fire and the police, are the schools, is the traffic going to be able to handle that infrastructure? And we've already got a lot of apartments that are currently being built, and we haven't even seen the impact of those yet, and then this coming online. So just wanted a few things I wanted you to think about that I've been thinking about that affect this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barrington. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, I'm Cindy Pursley. I live at 71 Brown Ridge Drive here in Newnan. I used to work up by Sandy Springs. Yes, I commuted all that way. I am now retired. Yay. But that traffic on Roswell Road, 2 lanes, if Poplar Road is not, and the roads around it are not widened, as the gentleman said there, you won't be able to move. I'm also concerned about just the change in the character of the county. A lot of us moved here for its country charm. It's going to hurt downtown. It already said, well, the folks that live there won't have to come downtown. Everything will be there for them. Is that going to hurt our downtown? Because people won't be able to get down Poplar Road, or, that made it a lot easier for folks in the east side to get here. And the other concern that came up when we're talking about the rental or the rentals turning to ownership, that is a concern because I live across the street from a development called Columbia Woods on Greason Trail. That was supposed to be an owner townhome community. A rental company came in and bought up all the townhomes, and now it's a rental community. What's to stop that from happening here? So, think this very carefully through. I'm not adverse to growth, but we didn't vote in T-Splost. We don't have the money to do all these improvements to the roads. A few roundabouts isn't going to change a whole lot, make it a little easier. But just look at Bullsboro on rush hour, just trying to get past the interstate. It's taken me 45 minutes to get down the street. So the growth, you're going to turn this into Sandy Springs if you approve this at this size. Needs to be something smaller. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for being here today. Appreciate that.
We're going to try to move this along because I know we have a limited time. Frankie Little Harden, I live at 21 Pine Lake Drive, so I'm on the other side of town. Nonetheless, I am concerned. I have a confession to make. I have rheumatoid arthritis, and I see a doctor in Sandy Springs. And let me tell you, I see her every 3 months. I drive up there, and I grit my teeth, and I pray I'll make it back here. And as soon as I pass the airport on my way home, I'm like, oh, thank the Lord. I survived. I only see her every 3 months because I can't face that traffic, and that's exactly what you're bringing down here. We love this rural community, and you are about to fundamentally change the nature of this community. This will have a fundamental impact on downtown. I think you've forgotten who you're here for. You're here for Newnan. And the fact that this project has to be annexed from the county, you've forgotten who you're here for. Look at the picture. You know what I see? I see a sterile space. I don't see a tree in sight. We're losing our green space faster than we're replanting those trees we lost from a tornado. And you come along and you bulldoze it flat. You forget about the water filtration. You forget about the benefit that we get from those trees. You forget about habitat loss. You forget about everything except that ephemeral thing called jobs. You've forgotten what you're here for. We love our rural community. A self-contained community, a sterile community like that, will degrade downtown. I already know people who never come downtown. They say, oh, I've got everything I need out in wherever. They don't come downtown. They don't appreciate the charm like we do. And this is only going to take us further down that road. You've forgotten what you're here for. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Petrino. I live at 26 Piedmont Drive in Newnan. My family and I have lived here for about 15 years now. I know that that interchange area is going to have development and we can't avoid that, but I am deeply concerned about the density of this project. The apartments are 80 units per acre and the very tall office buildings and parking garages. As to my knowledge, aside from the hospital, I don't know of other buildings that are 9 stories tall inside the city of Newnan. This density and city-like atmosphere is not in keeping with the rural character of the Poplar Road area or Newnan, the city of homes. It says right behind you on that seal,